So I listen to a lot of music, and one, because I like listening to music a lot. It's fun. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. And also because I've said this many times, but I work at Domino's and I'm a delivery driver. So while I'm driving around town every day, I gotta fill the void with something. I don't just sit in my car in silence and drive around and talk to myself. I listen to music a lot while I'm driving, and it's gotten to the point where I can't really drive without listening to music anywhere. Even if it's not at my job, I just kind of need that sort of filled gap of just silence with something. So I listen to quite a bit of music, and today I wanted to talk about bands and the certain trend that I see in bands. Hi, my name's Calling Me Crazy. If you didn't know, welcome to the channel. And I got some X-Defiant gameplay for you guys here. I crushed in this domination match. I literally hopped on and hopped right off right right as I played this match. It was perfect. I did so good, and I pretty much carried the team at one point. We were struggling there. It was such a tight game, and I hope you guys enjoyed that because I definitely enjoyed playing this match. And yeah, so we're talking about bands today, and there's this trend that I've noticed from bands that I listen to. Now, I listen to a lot of different types of music. It's not just rock or metal or heavy metal. I listen to quite a bit of techno that I used to pick up as a kid, kind of in my teens, like my early teens. And then I listened to a lot of rap during high school and a bit of college. So I got a good bit of rap on my not discography, but my playlist. And so I wanted to kind of pinpoint more of like the rock and like metal bands that I listen to, maybe alternative I would say, and a little bit of indie as well, and it just bands in general. I mean, you could listen to any type of band as long as it's like a group of people making music and not just like a specific art, like a pop artist that's just one person. And they I feel like they all follow this kind of trend where they either skyrocket at the beginning of their careers or they get like kind of like a slow start but reach a really high peak and then they plateau for a little while. Maybe they're riding that nice wave. They got some banger albums coming out back to back for a while. And then they either like slowly trend down to where they're just like not what they used to be anymore, or they just die off completely. Like they maybe ride that wave as hard as they can and then it just crashes and it's done. And it's just kind of like a funny phenomenon that I've seen, and I haven't yet found a band that hasn't followed this trend, and I thought I was close. One band in particular I wanted to talk about a little bit is Chevelle. I've been listening to Chevelle quite a lot recently, this past like 6 months to a year, I would say, and a lot of their music is really good. I love it. If you love grunge or alternative rock or maybe even just kind of just regular rock, they got great songs all over the board. All their albums are really good. Up until like the last two, I haven't listened to the most recent album, but their second to last one kind of got me scratching my head and thinking, no way these guys are falling into this trend as like all the other bands I've listened to for the past several years now, and it's kind of disappointing. So with Chevelle, they have this like such unique sound in the beginning of their career, where the singer has such like I would say beautiful voice. He sings really well and does a bit of screaming here and there. That sounds really good. It's very compatible to both the sound of the band and like how grungy it is, and it kind of like uplifts during like the bridges and everything. It's really nice, and they kind of steered away from that in the second to last album that I listened to, and I was kind of disappointed. For some reason, the guy is trying to, I don't know his name, but the guy is trying to just scream the whole album. And I'm like, buddy, that is not what you establish yourself as. You don't scream that much. You maybe scream here or there, but a lot of your voice is projected through your singing. Like, you just have to sing. And it's kind of like a lost touch. I don't know. I have to listen to their last album, see if they bring it back. But it wasn't good. And a lot of their sound was not great either. They were kind of just thrashing and bashing, sounded more like a thrasher album rather than their coherent grunge kind of moody earlier albums that they established themselves with that sounded much better in my opinion. It's really good to have breaks in between your like choruses and your really hard parts. Um, their second album, I would say, is probably their best. Possibly, it's not maybe not my favorite. I'm debating it. I've still got to give it more listens, but it really is good. I've been listening to it a lot this past like month and a half, and there's a lot of breaks in between the super hard grungy parts where it's smooth. There's some smooth singing. It's soft, and I feel like that's super necessary. You need to give the listener some room to breathe. You can't just always be thrashing all the time, song like back to back every song. I mean, even some songs in the beginning of their earlier albums, I mean, the song itself is a break from the grunge sound. They have a lot like a long either interlude or a long intro that's like super smooth and nice that like bleeds into and progresses into the song. That's really good. But this last album that I listened to is just not it's just not it. And I think a lot of other bands kind of followed this weird trend of losing their touch. So some other bands I have listed over here, I got Rise Against. They have a lot. They're kind of similar, where they have a lot of good music early on, and then probably about their sixth to seventh album, they start falling into like a generic rock trend, which I hate. I do not like. But I do like the singer enough, and he's stuck to his same voice for the most part. So I kind of still listen to Rise Against some of their later albums a little bit, not as much. I like their punk rock a lot better. It's just more underground. It's more punchy. It sounds really good. And some other bands I got 3 Days Grace. That's just a classic. I mean, if you don't listen to if you don't listen to any rock or alternative rock, you've got to at least heard this band once. I love 3 Days Grace, and I'm excited that Adam's coming back to the band, who's the main singer. Ever since Adam left, that band pretty much has non-existed in my radar. They've made 3 albums since he left, and I've given them a listen, and they're just not good. The last one, I think it's called Explosions that they made. It's okay. It's decent, but those first 2 are so bad. I forget those even exist. Some other bands I got Slipknot. That's an interesting one. So this is the only heavy metal band I have on here, and they I think stuck their sound pretty well. A lot of every album they've made sounds very different, and their last one is probably their worst one by far. It is so dog. What's his name? Corey has pretty much abandoned his screaming in that last album a good bit for probably at least half those songs, if I even remember. I gave it like one listen. I was like, I can't listen to this anymore. I cannot even go back to listen to it. He sings way too much. It's kind of like the opposite of what Chevelle was doing, where instead of screaming all the time, he's singing all the time. And I don't really enjoy Corey's singing that much. I think it's okay, but just that one thing, that one change is what really turned me off from it. And I got some other bands I've got on here, but I'm kind of out of time for this video. And yeah, that's just kind of like the trend I've noticed with bands. And I wonder if you guys kind of agree with me. If you agree, if you've seen these trends before in your listenings, and what kind of bands do you guys listen to? I'm interested. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below, again, if you want to discuss anything about this video or have a topic you want me to talk about. And you can also go ahead and leave an email at askmecrazyquestions.com. It'll be down in the description down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!